Now let us continue our discussion on the lesson There is Girl by the Tracks with second unit. In this video, we are going to study only the second unit of the lesson There is Girl by the Tracks. In this unit, we are going to study the points such as Roma couldn't respond to the words of Baleshwar. Efforts made by Baleshwar to shift Roma to the hospital. Information about Roma Talreja. Information about Baleshwar Mishra. Now let us study the discussion on the unit number 2 with the first point Roma couldn't respond to the words of Baleshwar. The meanings of duplicate words are far away, that's adjective here, which means in a great distance or long way away. Gasp, which means to take short, quick breaths through the mouth, especially because of surprise, pain, or shock, which is verb here. Sprawl, that's verb here, which means to spread the arms and legs out carelessly and untidily while sitting or lying down. Sprawled, that's adjective here, which means lie stretched. Apart, adjective, which means separated by a distance or less commonly by time. Border, which means to be next to and have a border with another country. That's verb here. Now let us read paragraph number 6 aloud. Baleshwar was so far away from Roma. He couldn't see her. I hope I'm not too late, he thought, gasping for breath. After running for several minutes, he found her sprawled by the side of tracks. Behin ji, ab theek hai? He asked. Sister, are you okay? That's English version of Behin ji, ab theek hai. But there was no response and no help in sight. They were alone somewhere between two stations 5 kilometers apart in Thane district, which borders Mumbai. Now let us learn this paragraph. Baleshwar was so far away from Roma, he couldn't see her. He took a short, quick breaths and hoped that he was not too late. He ran for several minutes. Finally, he found her sprawled by the side of tracks. He finally found her by the tracks. He asked her whether she was okay. He couldn't get any response from Roma, who was lying beside the tracks. He also understood that there was nobody to help him. Both of them were alone at the place between the two stations 5 kilometers away from Thane district near Mumbai border. There were no other people to help them, so he couldn't get any response and help from the others. Next point that we should study here is efforts made by Baleshwar to shift Roma to the hospital. Let us go to the difficult words of next paragraph. Gash, that means a long deep cut, especially in the skin. Gingerly, which means nervously. Look out, that's verb here, which means to try to notice someone or something or to search for and find something. Shrubbery, that's noun here, which means a group of shrubs or a part of garden where a lot of shrubs have been planted. Injured, that's adjective here, which means hurt or physically harmed. Implore, which is verb here, that means to request. Motorist, that's noun here, which means a person who drives a car. Now let us read the paragraph number 7 loudly. Baleshwar could see blood flowing out of a gash behind the young woman's head. Saying a silent prayer, he lifted the 5'2", 50-kilo Roma gingerly and made his way across the tracks, looking out for trains and searching for a way out. He crossed through some shrubbery and followed the direction of the sounds until he found the roads. My sister is injured, he implored the motorists who drove by. Please help me take her to hospital. But no one stopped. Girl was severely injured. Now let us have the meaning of this paragraph. The girl, the Roma, was very injured. Her condition was so serious and critical, she was totally unconscious. She was not able to talk anything. Blood was flowing out of a gash behind the young woman's head. There was a gash behind Roma. Blood was bleeding out of that gash. Baleshwar noticed that. He made a silent prayer and lifted the 5 foot 2, 50 kilo Roma nervously and started to go across the tracks. So he did a silent prayer. With that prayer, he lifted the body of Roma very nervously and started to go across the tracks. He looked out for trains and searched for a way out. He crossed through some shrubbery. There were some shrubbery. So he crossed through the shrubbery and followed the direction of the sounds. Finally, he found the roads. Many motorists drove by him. He requested all motorists to help him take the injured girl to a hospital. Now let us have the information about Roma Talreja. That is next point to be learnt here. Let us take the meanings of difficult words here of next paragraph. Bright, that means full of hope for success or happiness. Graduate, that's noun here, which means a person who has a first degree from a university or college. Cafeteria, that means a restaurant, often in a factory or college or an office building, where people collect food and drink from a serving area and take it to a table themselves after paying for it. Head, which is verb here, which means to go in a particular direction. Shift, that is noun here, which means a period during which a particular group of people work. Look forward, that's phrasal verb here, which means to feel pleased and excited about something that is going to happen. Supper, that's noun here, which means a main meal eaten in the evening or a small meal eaten in the late evening. Fiancé, which means the man that a woman is engaged to. Now let us read the paragraph number 8 aloud. That morning on December 10, 2010, a Friday, Roma Talreja arrived at the call center bright and early. The BCom graduate from Pune had been working there for 2 years, loving her job, talking and connecting to customers, and making new friends there. After work, she went to the cafeteria where she and her friends joked, laughed, and made plans for weekends. Then, heading home alone after her shift, Roma was looking forward to having supper with her parents and brother and a long phone chat with her fiancé Vijay. Now let us learn the meaning of this paragraph. The girl who met with an accident was Roma Talreja. She was 21-year-old young girl. She was become graduate from Pune. She was call center executive. She had been working in the call center from 2 years. She traveled every day by train in the morning and in the evening to reach her office and to return back to her house. She was loving her job a lot. She was talking and connecting to the customers and making new friends. She was laughing, joking, and making plans for the weekend with her friends. in the restaurants. She was passing the time happily with her friends. She was returning her home alone every day after the completion of the work and enjoying dinner with her parents and the brother Dinesh. She was chatting with her fiancé Vijay on phone for a long time. That morning on December 10, 2010, a Friday, she arrived at a call center bright and early. She talked and connected to customers and made new friends there. After work, she went to the cafeteria. There, she and her friends joked, laughed, and made plans for the weekends. She was returning to her home alone after her shift. She was waiting for the suburban train at the station. She met with an accident when she boarded the train. She fell down from a moving train and became unconscious. Now let us have the information about Baleshwar Mishra. Let us take the meanings of difficult words of next paragraph. Lanky, that's adjective here, which means tall and thin. Youngster, that's noun here, which means a young person, usually an older child. Dropouts, that's noun here, which means a person who leaves school, college or university before finishing a course. Recently, that's adverb here, which means not long ago or at a time that started not long ago. Hunt, which is noun here, that means search. Fruitless, adjective, which means unsuccessful. Treading water, which means making no progress, that means progressless. Resign yourself to, that's phrasal verb here, which means to make yourself accept something that you do not like because you cannot change it. Running out of, that's verb here, which means not having a reasonable chance of winning. Board, that's verb here, which means to get onto or allow people to get onto a boat or train or aircraft. Ponder, which means to think carefully about something, especially for noticeable length of time. Stranger, that is noun here, which means someone you do not know. Now let us read ninth paragraph aloud. Baleshwar Mishra has a very different story. The lanky youngster from Mirzapur, UP, is an unemployed high school dropout who had recently come to Mumbai, living with his two older brothers. His job hunt had proved fruitless. Now he was treading water and had resigned himself to the fact that he was running out of options. He had spent his day with a friend, grabbed lunch, and watched a movie. As Baleshwar boarded the train home, he pondered over his future, but all he could now think of was saving a stranger's life. Now let us understand this paragraph. Baleshwar Mishra's story was different. He was tall, thin youngster from Mirzapur, Uttar Pradesh. He was an unemployed high school dropout. He had recently come to Mumbai. He was living with his two older brothers. He hunted for the jobs, but he was unsuccessful in getting any job. He was unable to get any job in Mumbai. Now he was treading water. He was not able to find any good progress in his life, even though he tried a lot. He knew very well that he was running out of the options. He knew of his inability to get any job. He had spent his day with a friend, grabbed lunch and watched a movie. As Baleshwar got onto the train home, he thought very carefully about his future. But All he could now think of was saving a stranger's life. When he boarded the train, Baleshwar was only thinking very carefully about his future, about the way of getting a new job, about how to settle in his life. But when he saw the accident of Roma, when he saw Roma in a bad condition, he forgot all his future and started to think only of how he could save the life of Roma. Subscribe, like and share my video if you have really enjoyed this. Give your important feedback in the comment box. Thanks for watching this video very patiently.